Hello everybody, welcome back. So what I wanted to do is go through more along the lines of story, okay? There's still a lot of work to be done. We've done some developmental work here and there's still more to do. And what I'm going to do is in my second video, which focused on supplies, I brought up index cards. And what I'm going to do is, again, this is where you kind of have fun. You just want to let things fly around a little bit. And I'm going to, at this point, just write some things down, okay? I'm going to go through script and all that good stuff later on. I mean, it's part of the whole process of creating a comic book. But what I'm doing here is I'm just writing down some ideas. I'm writing down some things that I want to have in my mini comic. And what I'll do is I'm going to kind of focus on the origin, all right? So some of the ideas I want to get across is that he was an athlete, right? And he was on a plane with the other athletes. And sorry, I didn't mean to do that into the microphone. When you talk a lot, your throat has a tendency to get dry. But he was an athlete on a plane. Then we're going to see there was an alien invasion. I apologize. Writing through the camera like this is pretty, it's a lot more difficult than I thought. But there's going to be an alien invasion. And then there's going to be, I don't want to say rip-off, but a Superman type. Now, let me talk about that for a second. There are Superman types everywhere, okay? In most places that has a superhero universe, there is a Superman type. You have guys like the Guardian from the Imperial Guard. I'm not even sure that's his name, but he's an alien in outer space, and he's very similar to Superman. You have a character called Hyperon, who they keep bringing him back over and over and over again from different dimensions, but he's very obviously a Superman type. Although sometimes he's bad, sometimes he's good. Then you have another guy called the Century, who is also a Superman type. You have there's quite a few of them running around all over the place. And again, I'm saying you don't want to rip it. You don't want to rip them off. For me, it would be more like paying homage. You're trying to say thank you for what you've done, or whatever. But so I'm going to have to develop this Superman type and make it so it's, no matter what I do, it's going to be clear that he's Superman. But make it so that he's not an exact copy of Superman, where I just change the symbol on the chest, and the Superman curl that comes down on his forehead is changed in the opposite direction. You don't want to do something like that. But I'm gonna have to work on that character because I want him in there. And what he's gonna do is he's gonna save the plane. Okay, that all the athletes are on. Okay, and we're doing a mini comic. So what I'm gonna say to you is that when you're doing a story, you have these ideas that you want to incorporate into the story. What happens is you end up usually having more ideas than you have room for in the story. And a lot of the bad ideas you're going to have to just put to the side. Now, I don't want to say the ideas are bad, because the idea just may not be right for the story. You may come back and use it again at some other point. And I'll give you an example of that. I created this character called Super Sensor back when I was, 10, 13, somewhere in there. And I've never done anything with him. What I was doing was I was drawing a regular comic, And I was doing ads for my other superhero universe. And I drew a picture of this character and I called him Super Sensor, and I wrote something above his head kind of explaining the concept. I don't remember any of it. I just remember that he was in this all black costume. Where did I put it? He was in this all black costume, and his mask didn't quite look like this, but he also had like the underwear on the outside, because after all it was the 70s. And he didn't have the dreadlocks on the outside of the mask. And I don't even think I had the concept of it, of the, like him taking off the mask and holding it like this, the way Black Lightning is. I think what I'm doing is I'm incorporating the hair into the mask concept from Black Lightning into Super Sensor. Anyway, it's an old idea. It's not a great idea because he's basically just a ripoff of Daredevil. But I'm taking a lot of his backstory from Firestorm and from Bruce Jenner, and I'm taking him different things from different areas and putting them together. Okay, so I don't have a lot of pages for the mini comic. I'm gonna explain that in a second. But what's gonna happen is you're gonna have ideas that you're really gonna love that's just not gonna fit with the story. And this kind of goes down the road in the more sophisticated ways we do it. Right now we're just gonna have fun. Okay. The mini comic doesn't have a whole lot of pages to it. I'm gonna show you how to add more pages. I'm not gonna do more than I'll show you what I'm going to do, but it's not going to be large. It's not going to be a lot of different pages, and the reason for that is because we would be spending a long time sitting here. You'll be sitting here watching a long time me drawing, and that kind of gets boring, I think, after a while. But what I'm going to do is he's going to also make the costume. And when you do something like this, you're generally not doing it the way I'm doing it now. I'm sitting here explaining things as I'm doing it. What I'll do is I'll just keep writing ideas down. They're kind of hard at first, but then after a while it starts to move. It just starts going. And you may want to do things like, this is what I want to see the character do, this is what I want to see, this is the kind of thing I want to draw. Just think like that, right? I think this will be really funny. And you're going to put all those ideas in. And what you're going to do at this point is you're going to kind of put them in order, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to explain it real fast. And it's only a couple of pages that I'm going to use for it. And I'm going to essentially put the fact that there's a plane, there's aliens, and there's athletes on the plane. I'm going to get that in as quickly as I can, first or second page at most. Then I'm going to have that the Superman type is out there fighting off the aliens. And then I'm going to have that he saves the plane. Then I'm going to have what happened to the athletes inside the plane. Okay. And then I'm going to have him make the costume. And then we're just going to show him. I'm going to keep that on the same card. Now, the reason why I told you to get index cards, well, I didn't tell you to get index cards, but I suggest you get index cards, is you write your ideas down that you want in your story, and then you get to shuffle them around. You get to say, all right, I don't think I want to do it then. I think I want to do this first, and then I think I want to do that. You know what I'm saying? And you just kind of flip through them until they're in the order that you want to put them in for your comic. And you don't actually have a story yet, but you have like the ideas that you want inside your story, okay? And this is basically it. This I'm going to get in right away. And then do that. And then what I kind of did now is I kind of got basically what I'm going to have in my story. Now, again, don't feel like you're obligated to to this. We're here to have fun, okay? So you can change things around. It doesn't have to be set in stone at this point. We're kind of developing it as we go, and just kind of we're supposed to be having a good time. So I'm kind of curious to see where I'm going to take this and what the final product's going to look like at this point. So I'm at one point I'm trying to explain things, but at another point I kind of want to push through to get to the point where we have the finished comic. So I also don't want to have people feel like I'm skipping over steps. So I'm trying to explain things to those who don't get it. I do remember many times I've seen how to draw videos, or I'm sorry, how to draw on the page, and you'd see like they would start with the very basic stuff, and all of a sudden there's a finished product, and there's like a huge gap in between that they just missed. I thought that was pretty funny. All right, now there was a long time ago when there was a particular writer. He was for a journalist magazine, and he asked another writer who was a comic book writer. He said, "What does a comic book script look like?" And the writer that was being interviewed pulled out a blank page and said, "Here's a comic book script." Now, the reason I'm getting into scripts, let me kind of break things down a little bit. What happens is you create the character or characters, and kind of the basic ideas you want, right? And then you kind of write the story, and then you draw the story, and you letter the story, you ink the story, and you color the story. And these are the basic steps. Now, I wrote these notes to kind of, later on when I edit all of this together, I'm gonna have them in basic concepts like that, okay? That'll be a series of 5 videos covering these basic concepts. Now, a script, you can write the script however you want to write it, and because you're doing the whole thing, you don't have to write a script. But if you were writing a script for somebody else, you would kind of do things like, you put the title up here, then you would have a scene description, and the scene description kind of explains what's happening inside the panel. In a case like this, it would say something like a Black Lightning is chained up to 2 iron crossbeams, and the hostage is in the side there, and we can't see who Black Lightning is talking to. Okay, it might say something like that. I don't know what the script said, but that's what the artist drew. But you would describe that, okay? Then you would have a caption, and captions aren't used very much anymore, but a caption is sort of a descriptive box like this, and it's just kind of explaining certain things that are going on, okay? A lot of times what they use captions for is for like the thoughts that's going on inside the character's head. But you can have a caption, you can have what they call a dialogue box. And the dialogue box is basically what the people are saying. So, if you're writing a script, you would have dialogue. The whale is saying this, okay, on the comic book page. And then they also have thought balloons, which is also not really used anymore. This is like a thought balloon right here. And nowadays they just use captions for it. They put the thoughts inside the captions instead. But you also have thought balloons. Okay, and that's kind of what you would do with a script. This would be, you'd say what page it is, page 1, and then you would say what panel it is, panel 1. And let me do a little brief description right here. This would be a page, and then these little boxes here are called panels, okay? And then you have borders in between the pages, okay? More modern comics don't do that so much. Like a lot of them do this, where they just draw one panel over the other. But I'm only going over that so that you understand what I'm talking about. I'm going to kind of end it here. please come back tomorrow. We're gonna pick it up again, another drawing lesson, and we're gonna talk more about writing the comic. So we're gonna start moving progressively till eventually we have a full comic. Thank you very much.